We're following breaking news out of North Texas right now. Police are investigating an active shooter situation at a high school in Arlington, Texas. That's just west of Dallas. This is what the scene looked like just a little bit earlier. Authorities just provided an update in the last half hour. Investigators believe a shooting happened after a fight between students at the school. 3 students were injured and an older person, possibly a school employee, was also hurt. Police have issued an all clear on the school campus. They say there is no longer a threat there. However, authorities are still searching for the student that they believe is the gunman. This is a picture of 18-year-old Timothy Simpkins. They believe he left the scene in a Dodge Charger. Again, another look at the scene right now. Authorities are escorting students away from that scene and reuniting them with their parents. We are following this live right now on thv-at-noon and on our mobile app, and we will continue to bring you updates as this story develops throughout this newscast and tonight on THV11 News at 5 and 6. Let's turn now to the state capitol, where after nearly a week of special legislative sessions focused on redistricting, we finally have redistricting to report. There are currently 2 identical proposals making their way through the House and the Senate today. Both split up Sebastian and Pulaski County, which is a concern for many lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Those concerns are what led to Senator English's proposal failing in the full Senate this morning. The vote was expunged and will likely be brought back up this afternoon. As for the House, it currently is meeting to discuss Representative Speak's map. And all this plays out, so does the push to pass one of 2 vaccine exemption bills. A lot of moving parts to keep up with, but here's what happened this morning. The Senate has passed Representative Bryant's bill that would require employers to let workers opt out of taking the COVID-19 vaccine. But that measure was passed without an emergency clause, meaning it wouldn't take effect until January 1st. Over in the House, representatives voted to table a similar bill from Senator Kim Hammer in hopes of adding an emergency clause. We're following all this very closely. We'll have the latest for you on this tonight at 5 and 6. And as lawmakers continue to discuss those vaccine mandate proposals, one Arkansas woman is speaking out after she says she can't find a job right now, and it's all because she is not fully vaccinated. But as Michael Wilson explains, it's not because she doesn't want the shot, she simply can't get it.
Julia Bloom has been working as a substitute teacher since October of 2020 and has been looking for full-time work since August, which was around the same time that President Biden mandated across the nation that employers with more than 100 employees require workers to be fully vaccinated.
And I've had 3 people already tell me now that they need somebody fully vaccinated.
Bloom says she had the first dose of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, but had a rare adverse reaction to the shot and says she couldn't breathe after being vaccinated.
I had an overactive immune response.
She says she was treated with steroids and inhalers for the adverse reaction to the vaccine and asked that the doctor advised that it wouldn't be safe for her to get the second dose since they weren't sure what had caused the reaction. Bloom says she is now being monitored by the CDC since her reaction to the vaccine was so unusual. But in the meantime, she's still only partially vaccinated and now having difficulty finding work.
What are people going to do if nobody won't allow them to work? Who's going to pay their bills? Who's going to support them? That's my fear, that I'm going to end up homeless.
But with bills passing in the state capitol, Bloom says she's hopeful. Tuesday, a House committee approved Senate Bill 739. This bill allows employees to be exempt if they submit a weekly negative COVID test or prove that they have antibodies to fight the virus. It now heads off to the House to be voted on, but not without debate.
Some say businesses and government are trying to control people. I say they're trying to protect. It's what public health policy is for.
Representative Tippy McCullough said it seems what Arkansas is doing is counterproductive. But as for Julia Bloom,
I think that everybody should be entitled to that right to be able to just take a test and go to work. I mean, everybody wants to work, support themselves.
That was Michael Wilson reporting for us this afternoon. Governor Asa Hutchinson will give his weekly COVID-19 update on the response against the virus. That is coming up here in just over an hour at 1:30. We will be there, and you can watch live on thv-at-noon.com or on the thv-at-noon mobile app. Here's a look at the latest numbers for you this afternoon. There are more convincing signs that the summer Delta surge is in retreat in Arkansas. Good news there. For the 24th day in a row, the number of active cases has gone down. It puts us at the lowest level in nearly 3 months. New today, a green light for a new at-home coronavirus test. The FDA has issued emergency use authorization of Acon Laboratories FlowFlex COVID-19 home-based test. The approval will help double the nation's supply on non-prescription home test kits. The company says it plans to make 100 million tests per month by the end of this year. Time is running out for Congress to act on raising the debt limit so that America can pay the bills for spending that has already been authorized. But partisan fighting has prevented the Senate from taking that step. Now Democrats say they may raise the debt limit on their own. Skylar Henry has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Democrats are considering the so-called nuclear option to raise the debt limit.
Oh, I think that's a real possibility.
The nuclear option suspends the Senate filibuster, allowing Democrats to pass a bill with a simple majority, as opposed to needing a 60-vote threshold.
Senator McConnell is going to rewrite the rules and impose 60-vote requirements on everything that's moving. We're going to have some problems, and he knows it, and he obviously relishes it.
Democrats will try to move to a vote on the debt limit this afternoon.
Mr. Cruz? No.
The Republicans say they will use the filibuster again to block the final vote.
He continues to waste time with partisan stunts that are dead on arrival. He's scheduled yet another vote this afternoon, which he knows will fail.
President Biden has asked Congress to raise the debt ceiling before the October 18th deadline, saying every day that passes without it hurts the economy. Senator Joe Manchin, who has opposed suspending the filibuster in the past, wouldn't comment on the possibility now, but did say the U.S. would not default on its loans. Manchin is also at the center of negotiations over the president's multi-trillion-dollar social spending bill. He opposed the $3.5 trillion price tag, but he may be open to the president's counteroffer of roughly $2 trillion.
I'm not ruling anything out, but the bottom line is I want to make sure that we're strategic and do the right job.
A new poll shows 57% of those surveyed say they support the social spending bill, even at the higher $3.5 trillion price tag. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
That same poll found even greater support, 62% for the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill to fix America's roads and bridges. 34% of those surveyed say they oppose the infrastructure plan. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is hitting back against allegations made by a former employee that Facebook puts profit over people. The pushback from the tech giant comes after Frances Haugen gave a scathing review of the site to Congress during yesterday's hearing. In a post, Zuckerberg says, quote, "The argument that we deliberately push content that makes people angry for profit is deeply illogical," end quote. Haugen says the company cannot physically stop all harmful content from being propagated to users, nor does it want to, because that sort of content drives people, especially teenagers, to the site. Lawmakers want more regulation.
I am enormously encouraged by the apparent unanimity we have on both sides of the aisle that we need to make changes.
Senators on the committee that heard from Haugen yesterday extended an invitation and urged Zuckerberg to speak with them as well. The calendar already says autumn, but we're entering another season, not a fun one, flu season. Health officials are already telling people to get out and get their flu shot right now. So we verify if October is actually the best month to get that annual flu vaccine. Take a look. According to the CDC, influenza, also known as the flu, never quite goes away, but peak flu season varies each year, typically ramping up in October and reaching top levels between December and February. So is October the best time to get your flu shot? Let's verify. Our sources are Dr. Charles Bergier with Novant Health, an urgent care provider, and the CDC, which says the flu peak varies from year to year, but they suggest people get vaccinated by the end of October. The doctor agrees it's the best time to get the flu shot.
I think there's some reasoning behind saying that October probably is the best month to get flu vaccine. And that is because the immunity we get from the flu vaccine typically lasts about 6 months.
He says a dose of flu vaccine delivered in October would give you protection through March.
It often peaks in January, February. We've had some years, though, where it's peaked in March, and some years it's peaked as early as November.
With COVID-19 boosters now available for some people, Dr. Bergier says it is safe to get both together.
It's perfectly fine to get them both the same day.
According to the CDC and the Kaiser Family Foundation, 54.9% of Arkansans received their flu vaccine in 2020. Have something you want verified? Send a text to 501-376-1111 or email us verify@thv-at-noon.com.